Welcome back to Investing with Confidence. I am your host, Joshua David, talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets for income strategies. Coming up next, wealth strategies. If you did miss tickets to that investing class locally, hands-on, right here in Denver, Colorado, Bloomington, Minnesota, and Atlanta, Georgia, text the word INVEST to the number 484848 right now. That's text the word INVEST to the number 484848. You're going to receive a text back with a link. Click the link, pick a date in that landing page for a class time that works best for you. Al teaches these locally. I also teach these as well. We have these during the week, the weekend, mornings, and evenings. So pretty much anybody can attend. So Al, we talked about those income strategies in the last segment here. And there was a 24-hour market that you mentioned, actually two of them, the futures and the Forex market. So a lot of people that are looking to have more wealth strategies are short, not in height, but they are short in having enough to retire.
Right.
So they need to speed those up a little bit, but they're working. So it's like, what do they do? Do they get a second job, as you were talking about in the last segment? Talk a little bit more about why it's so important to have a market that's open round the clock, like a futures and the Forex market, to actually start to have the opportunity to build wealth.
Well, I guess the word is opportunity. You want to use something that gives you the most opportunity of participating in one of these markets. If you're in the stock market, it's only 6.5 hours. If you have access to something that trades 24 hours, you can do it based on your schedule. And it gives you many more opportunities. And a lot of people think when our stock market closes, that's it. Everything shuts down from a financial standpoint.
The world still turns.
The world still turns, and what happens in the world can impact what will happen in our market the next day when it opens in the stock market. So having access to these assets, let's say that you just want to trade stock. Well, if you know something about the futures market or the Forex market, the foreign exchange market, then you can have a better idea of what might be happening in the stock market.
So you're talking about increasing your odds.
Increasing your odds. Most people, as I mentioned in that first segment, it's the buy and hold, throw and stick, toss and stick, and
thick and stick, and whatever those are.
Yeah, and the other one was the rising tide strategy. Those are the things that maybe work in some parts of the market, some periods of time when the market is continuing to go up. That works. But we're facing a situation here where that's probably not going to happen going forward.
Yeah, I was actually just talking, sorry to interrupt you here, because I think it's important for our listeners to understand that you're not alone, right? I was just talking with some good friends, and they're like, yeah, the last few years have been awesome. We just buy stocks and then went up, and they're like, boy, it's just not working as well anymore.
Yeah, right.
So they're like, okay, what do I do differently? How can I attack this market a little bit better, but do that with, a little smarter as well?
Right. And that's the problem I think most people face. They don't know how to do that. They've been conditioned to do it one way. This is a time when you probably aren't going to do as well, or maybe not well at all, using the old standby buy and hold strategy. In fact, in the first quarter of this year, buy and hold strategies did not do very well. They really took a dive.
Pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean everybody did. There's always a bull market somewhere. There's always something that's outperforming, and part of being successful is knowing how to be flexible in your portfolio and your investments, which might mean going from one part of the economy to something else. And remember, there isn't enough money to lift all segments and all assets at the same time. There will be areas that are outperforming at certain times and underperforming at certain times. And understanding which ones to be in is critical. The way that you do that is to just follow what the institutions are doing, because they're the ones that really are determining that. They're the ones that are increasing price or decreasing price. And if you can find that on a price chart, you have an opportunity to have the potential for success.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, is having success in the markets, but doing it the right way, protecting what you have, as you said, and having the opportunities as you kind of keyed in on right away. And just to look back at that buy and hold strategy, I mean, it's not just this year. Actually, starting back in August of 21, price right now, as of doing this show, is right at the same price. So people, if that are in that buy and hold strategy, haven't made anything.
Yeah.
So they're struggling here. So when you talk about that is in these investing classes, It helps people open their eyes and see what is available out there. What are the different opportunities out there?
Okay.
You can come to these investing classes locally. Al teaches these. I teach these as well. They're about 2 hours. Get your phones ready because you can text to get some free passes and some free stock picks. You can text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll get a text back, but we'll also give you a call to make sure we find a date that works the best on your schedule. So text invest to the number 484848. So Al, you were talking there was 24-hour markets as more like wealth building strategies if people are a little bit behind and having the opportunity to do that on their time.
Right.
That's what it's all about. What if somebody has a 401k or an IRA? Let's just say an IRA, and they feel like they have a decent amount in there and they want to protect it in these down markets that we're seeing, but also have opportunities to have the potential to create a return even in a down market.
Right. Well, first of all, if that is you, if you are in a situation where you feel comfortable with what you have, congratulations. And now the important thing for you is to make sure that you stay comfortable, which means keeping the money that you have, not only keeping it, but growing it. Here's an interesting thing. We're faced with inflation. We know that inflation is going to be here for some time, and a lot of people that are in the markets have never actually experienced high inflation before.
Gas prices just went back up again.
Right. Yeah. And we're just beginning to see the impact of inflation. A lot of it's going to be caused by the Russian-Ukraine war, and not just with gas, but with grains, with wheat, and our food supply, things like that. But here's a stat that I think is pretty sobering. You need 5 times more money to maintain the same lifestyle you would have had 20 years ago. 5 times more money. So if you look at what you have in your retirement portfolio right now, and you are lucky enough to live in a healthy way for another 30, 40 years, you might need a multiple of what you have in there to make it through those years and maintain the same lifestyle you have. The problem is that when people retire and they realize there isn't enough money there, they have a tendency sometimes to take on too much risk. And that can be devastating if we go through a major correction or a bear market. Let's say that you retired in the year 2000 and you had a nice IRA, a nice 401k. You know what would happen to you? You would have gone through 2 major corrections over the next 10 years, and it would have taken 14 years for your portfolio to retain or get back to the value that it was in the year 2000. That's 14 years of lost time for you. If you're 65, 70 years old, how many 14-year periods of time do you have just to sit and wait for your portfolio to get back to where it was?
Yeah, and I want to kind of clarify a couple things here, and just so our listeners, and we're talking about things that happened about 20 years ago. History does repeat itself.
Yeah, it sure does.
But think about that. 20 years ago, people that are planning to retire right now probably were in their 40s, we'll say, and probably didn't take too much, or put too much attention in the markets. So it's kind of one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. That's why it's always so important, as you're talking about, to prepare yourself for no matter which way this market goes. There's strategies for up markets in your retirement accounts. There's strategies for down markets in your retirement accounts. So it's understanding what those are. So real quick here, Al, people that come to those investing classes that you teach that are looking for retirement strategies, what can they expect to learn?
Well, I guess one of the things that we cover are some of the mistakes that people make, because it's as important to know what not to do as it is to know what to do. So what are the mistakes that people make? What are the mistakes that the public make that the pros aren't making? And typically, 80, 90% of the activity in the markets is controlled by the pros.
Yeah,
so,
between 80 and 90.
Yeah, so you may often be on the other side of a position like that. Or what if you could use a price chart, which is what we show you how to read, because everything that you need to know about a company is in that price chart. So if you can identify where the institutions are trading and trade with them, not trade with the public who's basically trading on emotion.
Yep.
So in understanding what not to do is important, and that's one of the things that we talk about.
Yeah, in these classes that you teach, Al, I mean, it's to do what the institutions are doing, because we know they are always making money. We're not supposed to say make money in this world, but they are always making money. So the key is to identify what they're doing, find out what they're doing, and then try to mimic as close to as possible as what they're doing. And as Al was talking about, what they are doing is represented on a price chart. And that's what our sponsor Online Trading Academy teaches is strategies to read a price chart to make smart investing decisions within your wealth accounts, 401ks and IRAs. If you're one of those people that wants to learn more about that and take more of a more, I guess, more charge approach, taking more action in those retirement accounts, it starts somewhere. You have to get started. In these investing classes, that's where you can get started. Al teaches these here in Bloomington. We have all these also in Atlanta, Georgia, and Denver, Colorado. And these are classes where we've taught thousands, just like you, are many strategies which are designed to teach you to make better investing decisions. So get your phone ready. I'm going to give away 2 tickets with a number and a text. Call 888-682-6466 right now. That's call 888-682-6466. If you're a texter on your cell phone, the old mobile device, you can text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll get a text back with a link. Pick the link and pick a date that works best for you. Al, coming up next, we have one more segment to go. I'm excited. I am fired up. Let's talk about how to get started if you're brand new to the